Hello, everyone. This is Jesse back here. We're here to talk about. This is technically our first video. The other video we did was an intro, but we're here to talk about the testing processes as they relate to Selenium, the C Sharp, yada yada yada. We talked about in the last video. But today, I just want to kind of go over an overview into the tools that we'll be using. So the IDE, or the development environment that we'll be using, is called Visual Studio. Visual Studio is kind of expensive, but it's a really great software. So if you can get your hands on one of the versions of it, it would be great. The version that I'm using right now is the Enterprise version. Now that one has a 90-day free trial, which is 3 months, which is pretty nice. But afterwards, you'll need a license key to continue to use it. I obviously I'm not gonna, I can't just hand out my license key because it was pretty expensive to get a hold of. But if you can get any of the other, after that free trial runs out, if you can get one of the other versions, you know what I mean, it would also be great just for you to be able to still be able to look at the code, work on it, just, develop and things like that. So, this is the page right here where you can download Visual Studio. It's called visualstudio.com/downloads. You would click this free trial button right here. It's gonna put it's gonna download the file. You click keep. I've already done this before, but you click keep. The file will be right here. You open it. It'll open an installer, and it'll take a couple hours, but then it'll install Visual Studios onto your system. When it's done, it's essentially gonna look like this when you open it. This is the start page, right? So there's the Team Explorer over here, where once you're in the office and you're working, you're trying to upload your code for other people to look at. You're trying to make sure that everything's good. This section you'd be looking at over here. The start page is just to get you connected with Visual Studio, start a new project, open a new project, and things like that from here. Essentially, this is Visual Studios. It's a nice layout. There's a lot of things going on, but we're going to break everything down so it doesn't look too complicated. So once you have a project file, right, especially in relation to the automation project file, when you open Visual Studios with that file, or like you could click File Open. I already have it open over here, but this is just what the file will, or what the project will look like when you open it, right? So we're just going to break down the different sections that we can see on our screen right now, just so everybody gets a thorough understanding of exactly what everything means, what everything looks like, what everything's supposed to be, and things like that. So first, we're going to talk about this area over here on the right side. It's called the Solution Explorer. So I'm going to use a lot of analogies when we're talking about this, so it's a lot easier to understand exactly what each section is. But the Solution Explorer is basically where all your files are, where you can access all the files in your project. So this project is called the Marshall Automation Project, which is an automation project for an application called Church Marshall, which First Leader Soft is allowing me to test for the purpose of these videos. But essentially, I have two smaller projects in here. The first one is called the Selenium Automation Project, which contains the tests, and the UI Automation Helper, which contains different functions that allow us to better run the test more efficiently, I should say. So every file that is part of your project will be in the Solution Explorer. You can put there'll be folders in here that contain different files, documents. If your test uses Excel spreadsheets and things like that, those would also appear here. That's why you can see this test data file, Excel sheet down here, and the data set CSV down here. I compare it in a kitchen. I would compare the Solution Explorer to a pantry, because a pantry is where all your ingredients and everything that you're going to use to cook is stored. Essentially, everything we're going to use to work is stored here in the Solution Explorer. The next section is the IDE, right? This is the section over here in the middle, right? This in the kitchen would be the bowl where you mix where your ingredients get mixed together and get prepared to cook, right? In coding in Visual Studios, this is where your code actually gets written and put together. So once I get my files from the pantry, for example, this test, login Marshall is already open over here. Let me open another one just so you guys can see. But there's several different tabs that can be up here. If I click and add, like I open another test file, you have all these tabs up, so I can switch between the tabs at will by clicking them. The code that will power and run your test is actually written here. You guys can see some code here with the brackets and semicolons and things like that. We'll get more into that later. We'll get more into what everything on this page means and how the code is written and everything like that later. But I just want you guys to understand what this is. This is the IDE. This is where the code is written. This is your bowl where your ingredients get mixed. The next section is called on the left side here is called the test explorer, right? And this is kind of like your pot, or I guess the stove, wherever your food actually gets cooked. So essentially, once I put all my ingredients in my bowl, right, once the code is written and everything, I have to build it, or basically mix everything together to make sure that all the code is recognized by Visual Studios as being ready to run. That happens if you if you go to your project right here, you right click build solution. You right click and click build solution. It's also Control-Shift-B, as you guys can see if you hover over it. Control-Shift-B can also do that. Or you can go right here at the top to the toolbar at the top and click build, and the first thing on here will also be build solution. So this is the output at the bottom. We'll get to that in a second. But essentially, once the framework gets built, because I've already used this project several times on my computer, when I open it up, it automatically builds it for me. But in the case where it's not already built, once you build the solution and you have your test explorer here opened, if it's not already open on your system, you can go to the test toolbar here at the top, go down to Windows, click Test Explorer, and it will pop up right here. Same with the Solution Explorer if you don't see it on your system. As you're watching this video, you go to View at the top, the toolbar at the top, and go to Solution Explorer. That will also pop up on the right side. So once the Test Explorer is up, you're gonna see here it says not run tests, and it has the number 4 here. That's because I have 4 tests here that have not been run yet. Now, if I were to run the tests, right, I can run this test right now. Actually, this is basically the process of cooking the food, or in this case, running the test, which is what we want, right? I could also run the entire suite of tests at once, which would test every test in succession. It would go through them one by one. But you guys are just gonna see the process of automation, the magic of automation, really quickly. So this is the application we're testing. Boom, it logged in, did all the stuff for us. We're in. Boom, test is done. It passed. So we got the green check mark, which means the test passed. We got this green bar right here, which also indicates that the test passed. If the test were to fail, you would see a red X over here, and this bar that's green up here would be a red, right? Which would mean the test failed, something's wrong with the code, something's missing. At the bottom here, underneath the text explorer, actually, see it says right here, test passed, log to Marshall. Elapsed time, the test took 25 seconds to run. The test's job was to log into the Marshall application, right? The test was named within the code, which, we'll go over that later. But if the test were to fail, for example, right, if something were to break, the test were not to pass, then down here in this section underneath the test explorer is usually where you would get the reason why it did not pass. It will tell you in layman terms. It'll output an error message, and it'll tell you why the test did not fail. Why the test did not pass. Sorry. Here at the bottom, the last section we're going to talk about for today is the output window. This window is similar to a plate. So we got the pantry, we mixed the ingredients, we got the ingredients in a bowl, we mixed them together, we built them and everything, we cooked everything, the food's all ready, everything was good. So now the output is like the plate. So it's going to tell me run test, finished. It ran one test, the test passed, everything's good. The output window is the easiest to understand out of all the ones I just explained, simply because its only job is to, output. It just tells me what did I just do? The test ran, great. If the test were to fail, it would say run test finished, test failed. But since the test passed, it just says run test finished. It's over, it's done. So we've gone through all the Visual Studios. We got to the end, guys. In the next video, we're going to talk more about how the actual code gets written, the arrangement of the files in the Solution Explorer, things like that. I think the Test Explorer and the output window are pretty easy to understand. We're going to talk more about the IDE, the different things that are happening here, how I arrange the code that creates the test, and things like that. But for now, I think that's all. Thanks for watching, guys. See you guys in the next video. That's all. Goodbye.